Everybody's got them, but they don't always know what to do with them. We're talking about relationships, and I'm Dr. Jim, and this is Healthline Today. With me is Angie Harvey, a growth advisor, and Angie's going to talk about relationships. And Angie, let's start by you describing what some of the myths and the misperceptions, misconceptions about relationships.
Oh my goodness. Probably the biggest one is that love and passion in relationships actually plateaus. People believe that in the beginning of relationships is when the greatest part begins, when that euphoric stage, when people are talking about how good it is and you're finding out about, getting to know one another. People believe that actually goes from greater to this. And actually, it's my belief that love is supposed to get greater. It gets greater later. That the love and the passion, the intimacy, all of those things are supposed to increase and not decrease. That's probably one of the biggest myths, and people find it okay. We kind of are okay with the fact that things are, you hear people say, especially in relationships, oh, that's just the way it is now. It didn't used to be that way. And I am very big on consistency. So I believe that if you start something, you should absolutely finish that. That's probably one of the biggest myths. The other thing is that love is all you need. And I have a workshop called What's Love Got to Do with It? And that just simply means that you can love somebody, but there are many other things. There's love and there's money. There's children, there's in-laws, there's exes, there's goals, there's finances, there's many different things that go into relationships, and many people don't believe that all of those things need to be discussed or continually talked about, but those are actually some of the things that do people in, meaning most of us are still loving at some point the people that we end up breaking up with, but it was those other things, the money, the not having conversations about those other things. So in my mind, love has nothing to do with it. It has to do with those other 40 or 50 things that we don't talk about consistently in relationships. And I think the other myth is that relationships don't require a lot of work. And I have a saying that says, you don't go from work to home, you go from work to work. And if you're not working as hard at home as you do at work, it's not going to work. In other words, we come to our job or our profession and we work overtime, we stay late, we communicate with people we don't necessarily even like, those types of things, and then we come home and think that that's supposed to be home, where we're not supposed to communicate, we're not supposed to work, we're not supposed to show up on time, we're not supposed to stay late. And those are just some of the misconceptions about how all that works. And it absolutely does relationships in that people don't give unto themselves, primarily, or to their partners the way they would at home. And you think about that for a second. You come to work and people, for the most part, will work as hard as they need to do. I mean, for example, if someone's offering overtime, people will stay late to make money. If you're anything like me and your heart matters, I think that it makes perfectly good sense for you to have to give that same amount of work. But keep in mind that the work should be something that you enjoy. So a lot of times when people hear work, like, oh, I don't want to work in relationships, it shouldn't be that hard. Where I'm talking about the kind of work that you absolutely love doing, like what you're doing now. You have a passion about, you love doing it, you smile when you're doing it. That's the kind of work that should come out in relationships, the type of stuff that you absolutely love to do. And I think that that's important.
Angie, that's great stuff, and thanks. And thank you for being with us on Healthline today. We're going to continue this discussion, and we're going to talk next about working on relationships. Thanks for being with us.